continuing the Weekend War interviews. This one is with Irish filmmaker Damian McCarthy, who you might know from his earlier horror films, Caveat and Oddity, both of which are on Shudder. He has a new horror movie called HOKUM being released by Neon on May 1st. I don't want to say too much about the movie, but I was very excited to talk to him because it's a really good horror movie. It's very scary. It stars Adam Scott as an author named Owen Bauman, who he travels to an inn in a remote section of rural Ireland where his parents had their honeymoon. He goes there to pour the ashes, and he ends up getting caught up in some really strange and supernatural things going on in that area, and in that specifically that hotel, and specifically the honeymoon suite where his parents honeymooned. The honeymoon suite's been locked up for many years because of the odd circumstances that happened there. I won't get into what was going on there, but this is really great. I mean, this is a really great vehicle, Adam Scott. I haven't seen him really do something like this before, where it's kind of dramatic, has some funny moments, but it's also really scary. A lot of it involves him just trapped in this honeymoon suite, dealing with all sorts of strange supernatural things. But also this inn itself has so many interesting characters around him, including David Wilmot as Jerry, Michael Patrick as Fergal. A lot of interesting characters, a lot of Irish actors I wasn't really familiar with that much. Enjoy the interview with Damon McCarthy and enjoy Hokum, which opens May 1st. I highly recommend it if you like horror. It is going to be one of the best horror movies of the year, in my opinion.
First time in Ireland.
My folks came here for their honeymoon. Always wanted to come back.
Why didn't they?
I don't know if you've noticed, but there are some oddballs walking around this place.
There are worse things than strangers out there, Yank.
One of the members of staff is missing.
What about the honeymoon suite?
It's always locked.
I'm getting a weird feeling.
Damon, it's so nice to meet you. How you doing?
Hi, Edward. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, I really like this movie a lot, and I kind of did something I don't get to do often, which I got to see it without knowing anything about it. I knew you directed it. I knew Adam was in it. I hadn't watched a single trailer, and was so happy I did that.
Oh, brilliant. That's rare. Yeah,
Yeah, it is very
great.
rare, especially my business is very rare, and it's like to get to see it like that and really be surprised and like everything about it just really I really enjoyed it because it's an original movie that you can literally describe it in one sentence, but then it really isn't. It doesn't do a service to everything that happens in this movie. It's just kind of crazy. So is this? I mean, I know this is your third feature film. Had you like? Do you generally have like ideas that you kind of like? Was this an idea you had for a while that you wanted to develop after you finished Oddity, or was it something you just started right after that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it even goes back to lockdown, because we all spend so much time inside. And I used to work as an electrician in construction. So suddenly I had all this time off and I was like, oh, like I'm going a little bit crazy inside the house. So what do I do? And and I had just finished my first feature film, Caveat, which was a no budget movie, which took a couple of years to get made. So I suddenly had all this time and I said like, okay, I'm going to write. I'm really going to, I don't know how long this is going to last, but I have all these ideas. I just had like, books and books of just many ideas that I'd love to explore and just see, could there be a film in any of these? Is there structure in any of these, or is there three acts? And Oddity and Hokum, and I think like three or four other scripts came out of it. And then it was just a case of like, budget and who's going to trust me to make this movie. So yeah, that's kind of, it's like a lot of these things, they're old ideas that you're just waiting for the opportunity for somebody to let you make them.
But definitely seems like a logical progression between the three movies. I mean, this how do you end up meeting Roy Lee, and who's obviously he's like becoming a bit of a legend in the horror world with what he's
Yeah.
been doing. So
Yeah, Roy's amazing, and he's great to work with. He's very supportive, and you just know he's there. You know he's in your corner, and then he's just got a great brain for story and horror. So that was very exciting. Again, it was Oddity wasn't. I mean, Oddity again was a small movie, but I was very lucky in that not everybody saw the movie, but it was like all of the people that I hoped would see it because you always want you hope everybody will see your
Of
movies, but
course.
it was one
Yeah.
of those things where it was like people that I was a fan of, or people I really hoped that that I could get on their radar and they'd see the movie. Um, the likes of Adam and Roy and these kind of people that yeah, it was just that they saw it because they're film fans, and then that just put me on their radar, and then I was able to get in touch with them, and that led to HOKUM, which I had the script for, so I was able to drop it on their desk. So it's always a good idea to have that script ready just in case anybody ever comes calling.
Nice. Did you? I mean, imagine because you wrote it a bunch of years ago, you weren't thinking of Adam Scott while you were writing it. I mean, that's something which filmmakers generally don't do because what if you can't get him? But I mean, was he
Yeah.
something on top of your mind of someone you want to play this role, or
Yeah, I would never write with actors in mind because it'd be very disappointing then if you can't get them. Straight away the whole thing kind of starts falling apart because oh, I'm off to a bad start because this person I wanted. So I try to write the characters in terms of their description, in terms of who they are, as vague as possible. It's still their actions and what they're saying remains. Um, but when I realized the film was going to happen, and I had just seen Severance, and I loved it. I thought
no?
this is incredible. So it was just really good timing. I'd always been a fan of Adams anyway, and I saw this and I kind of thought, wow, this Adam that could be really good because he has the kind of comedy chops and he's charismatic and there's something just I always found there was a little bit of a kind of an edge to him too. Even like when he's playing that nice guy, I was like, there's something about this guy that I think could be kind of a little bit of darkness there too, that I liked. And yeah, and it was great. He had seen Odyssey and we met, and I really liked him straight away, and I was just delighted that he was interested in it.
Yeah, I think it's genius casting for what you say. I mean, he does drama, he does comedy. He hasn't really
Yeah.
done much horror, but he's just great. I mean, what he brings to it, every aspect of this movie just elevates the whole thing for sure. So
Yeah, he's great, and it's not an easy role either because I mean he's got long stretches of like no dialogue, and there's a lot of um, physicality in it, like climbing in on a dumbwaiter, being chased, and all this kind of thing, and looking terrified for so much of the movie, and like yeah, he's great.
yeah, and I love the Irish cast too. I love the fact that there are characters who kind of just appear. They have a scene with Adam, then he
Yeah,
goes off on his own, and then he meets someone else. I just like the way this was set up
yeah.
and paced and everything. It's all great. Did you know any of these Irish actors beforehand?
Some of them I did, it's like David Wilmot, Peter Coonan. I would have been familiar with them. Michael Patrick, he was in on Colin Kuhn. Um, yeah. So again, you like, yeah, and then some actors. Will O'Connell plays Jack and Albie. Florence Rdesh. I was less familiar with them, but it was, it's nice to find new people. But I'd always just, if I'm watching stuff, I always just write down names. Go, oh, that's a really interesting actor. I hope I get to work with him someday. Like the likes of Peter Coonan, who plays Mal. I had seen him in a TV show in Ireland called Love Hate. It's a brilliant show, and that's going back like maybe 17 years or so. And I think I just wrote down his name then and went, that guy's really good. I'd love to work with him someday. And this is before I was only making short films at the time, but it's nice that eventually you get to work with these guys, and they were great. Yeah, I think the cast that surrounds Adam are wonderful.
I like the show. There's a showcase for Irish actors and also crew. I mean, you
Mhm.
you kind of you still made an Irish movie, even though people think with Adam Scott, they go, "Oh, he's making a Hollywood movie." It's not really. It's kind of still.
It's very intentional. I mean, it's trying to marry those two things that I love. I love working with my crew and the Irish cast and shooting in Ireland. But then I grew up watching American movies and Hollywood movies, and there's so many American actors I'd love to work with. So this is kind of hopefully my first time being able to pair those two things off. So I hope I get to do it again.
I have to ask about the location because I think it's kind of like. I think with horror movies, I think production design does not get enough, and set decoration do not get enough attention in horror movies, and I think this movie is a perfect example of that. Like, I'm not sure how much you did on a location. I'm not sure. I mean,
Mhm.
it seems like a lot of it you have to build. The outdoor exteriors obviously have to be on a location somewhere. So, I mean, how did you go about finding where to make this movie?
It was a mix. It was a mix of we looked at so many hotels, but there's around West Cork where we were filming. That's in the southwest of Ireland, and like you'd find a really cool hotel. It's like, oh, this is so creepy, and this looks beautiful. I'd love to film here, but it would be tiny. So by the time you'd get the equipment in, the cast and the crew, we'd all be standing on each other's heels, and you know that it's going to be it would turn into a rough shoot very quickly and get very frustrating if you film in a small location. So eventually we started looking at private residences then just to see if there was a place that we could convert into hotels. So we just found a private home that it was a mix then of taking that home and art directing it and turning it into a hotel, but then also building corridors and the honeymoon suite and the elevator. and all of these things in the West Cork Studios, which is a new film studios down in Skibbereen.
Hmm.
That's a town in the West Cork, in West Cork, and just you know, trying to combine the two so that the real location would seamlessly edit into what we build on set. And again, that's Till Froelich, our production designer, and his team. They were brilliant. They really knew how to, lean into that layered, textured, real old kind of feel, where even the period that the film is set in is quite vague. And they, Till did a great job of all that.
It's really amazing. I have to ask you, there's been a lot of great Irish horror recently. I mean, it seems like the Irish filmmakers. I mean, Lee Cronin just had a movie last week, a major movie. Even going back to like movies like The Eclipse and The Canal, which are kind of smaller movies,
Yeah.
not as much horror. But I'm really amazed, and I've never been to Ireland myself. And I was curious, what's going on in Ireland and all these crazy horror movies coming out of there?
I don't know, but it's great. Yeah, I mean, like Kate Dolan and Ciarán Fry, and Lee Cronin. Don't know. I'm just as a horror fan, I'm delighted with it, just because it's lovely to see so much stuff that's being made at home, but then going out to an international audience. So I hope it continues. I can't explain it, but it's great.
Yeah, it's Ireland and Australia, both of them. And I'm kind of curious. I think there must be
Yeah,
something going on there. There's a lot of supernatural
yeah,
stuff. I've never been to Ireland myself. I've been come close this many times. But
right.
is there a lot of like supernatural just kind of in the air, like a lot of stuff like
I suppose
there?
we all would have grown up, and if I think of the age, I mean, everybody that I'm mentioning is kind of, in their 30s and 40s. So, yeah, I guess we all would have grown up. One, I suppose, living off American cinema, watching so many horror movies and John Carpenter movies, that would have been, I imagine all that would have been very influential for everybody. And then, yeah, I mean, in school, you're always being told you're learning all these old Irish folklore and myth and all these old stories. I'm sure if you put those two together, and if it grabs your attention enough when you're little, you're going to grow up and maybe want to start doing something with it. I think that was the case for me anyway.
Yeah, I was wondering, did Irish television show a lot of these great horror movies on television, like uncut, whereas here they wouldn't, except for cable maybe.
We used to, yeah. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, I guess we had like RT1 and we had two channels growing up. So yeah, I mean, late at night at 11, half 11 at night. Yeah, they'd stick on some 70s or 80s horror movie that you'd be, staying up late to watch.
Do you have another story in your book that you want to like deal with next now that this is done, or?
Yeah, I write all the time. I just love to write. It keeps me sane. So, yeah, I've got this. It's funny. I wanted to make something that was maybe a little less horror next time, kind of horror adjacent. But I think after HOKUM, when I watch it now, I definitely would like to do it. I was made three features now, and I'd love to do one more just to see if I can kind of if I can perfect, if there's such thing as a formula. If I
Mm.
could just make one more horror film and see if I can take everything I've learned and really make something very scary before not moving away from the genre fully, but just kind of do one more. I think there's something about when horror filmmakers when they leave the genre, it can be a little bit hard to come back to it.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that would be the plan.
Oh, great, great. That's awesome. Yeah. Look forward to it. I actually want to see Oddity again. I don't have Shutter right now, but one of these days I'll watch Oddity again. I remember the non-linear thing really kind of threw me off for a while the first
Right.
time. But
Okay.
but I watched it, but I want to watch it again because now I want to see like because I think definitely this is definitely a progression, and I can't wait to see this again too. I'll probably be going to see this in theaters when it comes out. So congratulations, great
All right. Thank you very
great
much.
film. Really freaked me out, and can't wait to see what you do next, Damon.
Good
Okay.
stuff. Thanks,
By the way,
Evan.
I got to ask you. By the way,
Yeah.
it's MC? There is a space between MC and the Carthy always, right?
No, it's McCarthy together is fine.
Oh, okay.
It was yeah. It's an Irish. It was a way to spell it in Irish was McCorrig, and there's a little space there, and is a thing I ended up doing sometimes. But put it together, it's fine.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I was
Yeah.
really confused because I was like, wait, am I getting this wrong? I've never heard
No,
of
no,
this
no. You're
before.
right. You're right. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
excellent. All right, thanks, Damon. Nice to meet
All
you.
right.
Take care. Bye
Cheers.
bye.
Thank you.
Something feels off.
I can't find a way out. I keep hearing something. I think there's someone down here.
Can you hear me?
Get me out of here, man!